My name is Kwabna Chenche Hiniboati. Many thanks for joining us here on Newsdesk. Let's start off with the big one for today. And a group of NDC foot soldiers are hitting the streets today in protest of the Supreme Court sentencing of the Montie contemnors. Salif Umase, popularly known as Mugabe of Montie FM, was slapped with a 4-month jail term with 2 others after being convicted in a contempt case. Alistair Nelson and Godwin Akogan, all belonging to the ruling NDC, threatened the lives of judges during a radio discussion. But the angry NDC members say they want the president to grant the contemnors a presidential pardon. Closely related to that is a statement by lawyers for the jailed persons, and they are calling on the president to exercise his powers of prerogative of mercy under Article 72 of the Constitution of Ghana. But before we start with that, let's first take a listen to lawyer Sam Okujeto, who is a former president of the Bar Association, and he believes the sentencing handed down by the judges is too minimal.
Well, I understand they were given 3 months sentence.
It was actually 4 months.
4 months sentence. If I were there, I would have given them much longer than that. Because you see, I am so much worried about what I call irresponsibility that has almost crept into the political arena, whereby people use the radio and the television stations as a platform for abuse, vulgar abuse, threats. That is not what the media is meant for. The media is meant to disseminate information and also to educate. And I think that a lot of the characters who are appearing on television radio should not be allowed. And I think the stations themselves should have been punished heavier for them to put down rules. Every institution should have a rule. The rule which says that when you come here, no abuse, no insult. You are supposed to express your view, but appreciating that others also have views. My view is not necessarily the only one. There are others who also have view. I must allow them also to express their view. In fact, I think that we should learn to disagree agreeably. Disagreement should not be a matter for fisticuffs, for insult or for abuse. I think it's getting completely out of hand.
So that's something more severe. You think, for example, that the directors themselves should probably have gone to jail apart from the panelists and the host of the show?
No, I don't want the directors to go to jail, but they should be fined heavily. Sometimes that's the way people feel it. You should fine them heavily, and then you also bound them over to be of good behavior for a period, maybe a year or something like that, so that at least some fear is put into them. That's what the courts are meant for.
The argument has been that these guys apologized over and over again for the comment that they made.
I don't want to hear that, because the president, I cannot slap you and then come back and say, I'm sorry. That is not the way society is supposed to function. I'm sorry. We are so misconstrued. I abuse, I insult, I threaten judges. And then I come and say, oh, I'm sorry. Then you say, I should get away with it. I'm sorry. Whether I say sorry or not, punishment must come. Punishment must act as a deterrent.
So that for you, the 4 months is not enough. How many months may
I would have given them at least 6. I would have preferred to give them at least 6. And then, in addition, bound them over for about a year or 2 to be of good behavior.
So that now that the punishment has not been this severe as you are recommending, how do you envisage maybe the consequence? Do you probably foresee that these acts of attacks and impunity against judges and even other individuals on media platforms may continue?
Did you see outside the courtroom? I was told that in that whole community center there were a lot of people there shouting Mugabe, we want our Mugabe, which means that people are condoning, they are encouraging them, they think they are heroes, when in fact what they were doing was evil. Many are forgetting what happened in Rwanda, that indeed it was the same kind of conduct and behavior that brought about the slaughter of millions of people. Now Rwanda has learned their lesson. Now it is one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. It is time we put our foot down and say no unruly behavior. We are all Ghanaians. Nobody owns this country more than anybody. Because my party is in power does not mean that I have a license to do whatever and say whatever I choose.
You get the sense that's what is happening. These people think those that they back are the ones in power.
Yes,
which is
that's what's going on right now. If you think your party is in power, it means you can do it. People are even getting away with murder. You must lay down the guidelines to govern your media house. That's what in institutions abroad, I know there's something called code of ethics. It is laid down, it is strict. You come here, this is the way you are to be here. Certain things you cannot do. You know something I call sexual harassment? I have been in international organizations where I had to sign an agreement to say that I will not be seen to be sexually harass anybody. Which means you cannot say a woman and just slap her back. These are rules that govern civilized societies. And we are also civilized. We also should make sure that we have decorum, respect for one another.
So you think our media landscape is too lax?
We are just, because we are not training the people properly. I don't know whether they are teaching ethics at the, what's his name? Your School of Journalism. I don't know whether they are teaching ethics. I teach ethics to my lawyers. And I insist that they learn the code. And I threaten them that if they infringe upon it, we will punish them severely, even by taking their license from them. And then they will not practice law any longer, then they will learn their lesson.
But the fear has always been, guarding against gagging the media.
No, that's what I say, you are getting it wrong. We just misuse the word gagging it's an absurdity. What we are saying is that learn to respect one another. Respect one another. Respect others. Others also have rights. You cannot just abuse people and then you can't say, oh, I'm sorry. You cannot just slap somebody and say, I'm sorry. You can't go and rape a woman and then you say, but after I apologize to her.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you. Every day we are recruiting police. Right now we are recruiting so many hundreds of policemen. What are they supposed to be doing? Why? Why is it that we have police? And yet, when something happened, you heard her say that the police arrest. And then someone calls and said, give an order, release the people. Now, how do the police function when politicians are using their power over the police? How can society function in that way?
My final question would be, so what would you want to see differently going forward as far as ensuring adequate law and order in the country is concerned?
Let all of us, irrespective of the party we belong to, come to a consensus and agreement to say that certain conduct and behavior.
Well, a leading member of the NPP and an academic, Dr. Arthur Kennedy, has also been commenting on this very issue. We'll be coming to that in a short while. But I need to bring to you a statement that has been released. It was released late last night, you're told. That's been released by lawyers for the contemnors whom we now know have been jailed. Today they've begun their sentencing. Let's speak to Mr. George Lowe, who joins us on phone now with some more on this. Mr. Lowe, good morning. Many thanks for joining us, sir.
Good morning, and good morning to your cherished listeners.
Indeed, indeed. So I just want to find out what you are seeking. Now, is it that you want the president to grant pardon to these members whom we are told committed this act that has now led them in prison?
Well, as depicted by our statement, we are saying that, yes, we accept the Supreme Court judgment. They have spoken. They are the final court of the land. We respect their judgment and officers of the court. However, we are of the view that the sentence was too harsh and that it is not the best to give custodial sentences for speech, irrespective of how bad, in a modern democracy. In that light, we are saying that the president should send the right signal that our government has no intention of criminalizing speech, and therefore he should use his powers under Article 72 to intervene and give any of the things that the article offers to us. He could do a respite, he could do a remission, he could do anything in consultation with the Council of State.
Would you not say that it's you reaching a little too far? Because some would say that already the judges were very lenient with your clients. In some instances, one would suggest that they should have been given a sentence of probably 3 years each for the contemptuous comments.
If you can tell me what your bases are.
Well, we've heard from quite a number of people, including, we just had a sound bite or a sound clip of former GBA president, lawyer Samokujeto, who said that, well, for him, he thinks the sentencing is just too lenient.
Yes, but we know that lawyer Kujeto has been biased towards this case. He has, even while the matter was in court, he had already even passed judgments and said that it should be dealt with severely, which in itself could constitute contempt course. But having said that, I am saying that, look, where a general secretary 30 years or more at the bar of a leading political party threaten the judges and ask them to go and ask their wives to start preparing for their funeral, he was let off with a fine. And we are saying that if first-time offenders who are not known to the law, who themselves are not lawyers and do not understand the full remit of the law, if they've gone foul of the law, yes, we say they've gone foul of the law. They have been convicted. We don't say it's bad. They've been fined. We think it's fair. But to send them, to prison for what they've expressed, I think that in contemporary times it's bad. It's not the best of things to do, and that is why we are asking the president if he so wishes to intervene, and that is why we issued a statement. So,
some are saying in a politically charged atmosphere like what we have now in the country, seeing that you are gearing towards elections, it is prudent for the Supreme Court to crack the whip on such persons to ensure that there's some sanity on our airwaves. You do not agree with that, and you'd still go on to say that people such as Leo Kujeto
we are heading towards an election.
Indeed. And such irresponsible comments cannot be tolerated.
Listen, between heading towards an election and having an election petition to be determined, which one is which of the stakes are higher?
So that was
please.
George, I'm just saying. George, just a second, George.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Based on incidents of the past, the court, in its own wisdom, deems it necessary to now crack the whip and send these people to jail. Why do you think that's harsh?
I'm saying that it is my opinion, and we are entitled to it as lawyers, that the sentence is harsh, and that is all we are saying. We've asked the president to exercise his powers under Article 72. We are entitled to that. The president has exercised that power many times, even for murderers, who has had their sentences commuted to life imprisonment. Others have had it reduced by 25 years, and all that. The president is not going to do this thing for the first time. We believe that he's the father of the nation who has sworn to protect every individual.
Okay.
We believe that this is one of the cases where, as much as we want some punishment, we think that our brothers have been punished too severely. And therefore the president must show compassion and temper justice mercy. So we are not asking for too much.
I presume you've petitioned the president.
Listen, it doesn't matter the time. Every Ghanaian's individual liberties are important, and we believe that this is one occasion where president should send a signal to the world that we are not a country where we want to stifle press freedom, stifle freedom of expression.
Would that not, to a large extent, be you forcing the president to endorse such reckless statements and comments?
Oh, I find it extremely interesting that even when people have said things on your network, if they had to treat you like this, will you be happy? When your colleague called the president an armed robber, did the president say that?
I just want us to stick to the issues on the table.
No, please, I'm telling you. Many people have said things on many other radio stations. If the president was minded to say they are set things against him, so they should all go to jail, will you have any journalists left in the country?
The question I asked.
I am saying that we are not against the conviction. We are not against the fine. They are all punishments under the law. All we are saying is that it's a bit too far to move into the realm of custodial sentences for expression of free speech. We may not like what they say. As member of parliament, I get insulted every day. Media writes all sorts of things about me negatively. But why? We ride the storm. We are public officers. Nobody is above reproach.
Okay. So you want the president to cut short the sentence to say what?
I haven't said what I want. I said the president has powers under Article 72.
No, I just want to know that the specific thing you want the president to do about this.
I cannot order the president to do anything in the specific.
No, it's a petition.
He had wide powers. He has advisors. He will look at it if he's so minded and take the appropriate decision that is also.
Which may include he cutting down the sentencing. Of
course.
To say a month or a week.
Well, I will not. Whatever the president chooses to do, he is the president of Ghana, and he does the things that he wants to do.
Okay, but did you want the president to intervene? What if he fails to intervene?
What I'm saying is that is why we called on him in our statement to intervene. It's not about want. We have said it.
Okay.
Very clear word.
Okay. I just want to know, so what is to happen next if the president fails to act as such?
Well, that is the president's prerogative. The president will act or not act. I mean, there's nothing that we can do as lawyers. Our chances at review are very slim, particularly when the courts are rising, I believe today or tomorrow.
Right.
And so by the time we would have filed and then the courts come back from recess, our clients would have said the attempt. So why waste our time with review? That is why we are going the extra mile by calling on His Excellency to intervene.
Okay. So Judge Lowe, many thanks for your time on News Desk this morning. And Judge Lowe is one of the lawyers for the contemnors who have now been jailed by the Supreme Court. As we speak, they have begun their 4-month jail sentence. But let's now head to the headquarters of the ruling National Democratic Congress, where we are told that quite a number of NDC foot soldiers have besieged the premises of the party headquarters to demand an intervention by the president. Joseph Akable is standing by with some more information. Akable, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us what the situation is at the NDC headquarters?
As it stands, in front of the NDC headquarters here at Adabaka, you have some supporters of the ruling National Democratic Congress, like you pointed out. They are engaged in a heated discussion. The security personnel in charge of the premises, they want to be allowed to enter the premises, but they are being denied access. What is not so clear is exactly why they are not being allowed access to the structure. But the point they have been making all morning is the fact that they are disappointed in the judgment coming in from the Supreme Court. They feel it's too harsh for their friends. I mean, like they put it, and for some of them they've been saying that they listen to the Pampasu program that's hosted by Salifu Marcy each morning, and therefore they are disappointed that he's going to spend 4 months in jail. So they want the president to exercise the prerogative of mercy power enshrined in Article 72 of the 1992 Constitution. So that is the call they are making here at the premises. While for others too, they are saying that if the president fails to act in that regard, they risk losing their vote, or not necessarily they voting for the NPP, but they are saying that they are not going to vote entirely for the NDC as well, without not voting for the NPP. Have
you come across any party official currently at the facility this morning as we speak? And
I'm yet to spot any party official coming here at the residence. It's just at the premise time. It's just the spotters who are outside. Some few people, non-identified, they are not known faces. They come in and they are allowed access. But for those who are sitting outside the premises, they've not been allowed into the main compound.
Take us through the numbers we have outside the NDC headquarters building now. How huge is the crowd?
Initially, when I came in, there were the number just about 7 of them, but the number has been growing. And at my last count, there were about 28 of them gathered in front of the premises.
I see. And they are expecting a few more of their colleagues to join?
That appears to be the case, because as the minutes linger on, as the hours pass by, more colleagues tend to join them. And one thing again is the fact that there are others who are passing by who share in similar sentiments. Each time they pass by, they hear the noise, they also join them at that end. So at my last count, we are about 28 people standing in front of the premises.
Many thanks for that update, Joseph Akable, and he's a man on the ground. He is currently at the NDC headquarters, and he just brought us a report from there. Well, it appears the numbers keep increasing. He says quite a number of NDC foot soldiers have besieged the premises, and they are calling on the president to intervene in that very situation. I'm speaking of the situation where some 3 contemnors have been jailed by the Supreme Court. They are to spend 4 months in prison, following some comments they passed on a radio program on Montie FM. Well, the persons who have masked up at the party headquarters are saying that should the president fail to intervene, well, he is going to risk their votes. They might not vote for him if he refuses to act on their demand. You're watching News Desk here on the Joy News channel on Montie TV. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you some more, including some very interesting comments that were passed by the flag bearer for the National Democratic Party, Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings, at yesterday's IEA event. We have details of that plus a lot more. Stay with us.